How can you guess from the title of the film of the 90s Years of the Ghost? This is the story of ghosts. But this story is not entirely a ghost story in the traditional sense, associated with frightening spirits and houses with haunted. Rather, it's a story about ghost stories with a modern twist, which depicts the Phantom of Sorrow, wandering around the city of New York with desperate goal.
When they told me that the director who took off the airplane and got ready to take off Ghost, I was shocked, because I wanted to work with Milos Forman or Stanley Kubrick.
When they told me that the director who took off the airplane and got ready to take off Ghost, I was shocked, because I wanted to work with Milos Forman or Stanley Kubrick. Ghost was the first film to Jerry Zucker filmed it himself, and not as part of the trio that included him, brother David Zucker and Jim Abrahams. These three created such parodies as The Airplane and Naked Gun, so it wasn't only Jerry's first solo debut as director but also serious genre deviation.
It is impossible to attribute the film to any categories. He doesn't fit into any certain genre. I wanted to create tragicomedy with elements of suspense.
Rubin's original script was much darker. Therefore, at the director's request, he rewrote it 19 times and they stopped on the correct version. In '91, Rubin received an Oscar for Best Original Script.
In this picture, Patrick Swayze plays a man named Sam Wheat, who was killed during a robbery on street and left as a ghost, who hasn't yet enters the afterlife because he has unfinished business. This unfinished business includes Into Yourself warning from his girlfriend Molly, who plays Demi Moore, about that her life is in dangers. Screenwriter Bruce Joel Rubin wanted to cast Patrick Swayze on role of Sam Wheat. After a Saw interview in which he remembers his father and starts crying, Rubin believed that if such a person as Patrick Swayze was able to cry because of the memories of a loved one person, he perfect will do for this film.
You made him proud.
Oh, Jesus. Well, that was his problem. He thought crying was weak. Texas mentality.
In Farewell, the scene where Sam says Molly that always loved her, Patrick's emotions were real, because he was just thinking about his own father, who passed away in 82 Patrick is very wanted to get this role, and convinced director so that he let him pass listening.
When he finished reading scenario aloud, we all had tears in our eyes and we already knew what the decision would be. Patrick opened up to me from that side which I have never seen in him.
Swayze claimed that Sam Wheat was the hardest role he has ever played in your career. Main way because he was to be an observer of an action and not a participant.
I needed this role as for my soul. I didn't want to be considered just an action movie actor.
Fee Patrick amounted to $2 million. Were also considered for his role Harrison Ford, Michael J. Fox, Tom Hanks, Kevin Bacon, Alec Baldwin and Tom Cruise. Bruce Willis turned down the role, so how he just didn't understand the script. He's also believed that the film would certainly fail rental, and then called himself an idiot for giving it up. Eddie Murphy was angry with his agent after how he found out that he was an agent turned down the role in A Ghost, and not even telling him that he is being offered the role of Sam Wheat.
Kevin Kline, who just received Oscar for a movie Fish called Wanda, This What You Need. They were about to contact Kline, but the casting assistant is practically made Zucker watch another one actor.
We went to see the movie Roadhouse with Patrick, and when we left the cinema, Jerry said, "Only over my corpse."
Jerry saw a kickboxer with long hair cool guy in the Roadhouse, and he just couldn't imagine me in the role-sensitive boyfriend who gets murdered, and which is returned in the form Ghost.
But Swayze really wanted this role, and because Zucker valued enthusiasm Patrick, he let him pass listening. After Swayze read the final stage, the director changed his mind.
We all had tears in my eyes. I saw in Patrick this side of existence which I didn't even suspect.
In the first scene of the film, Molly and Sam are stopped by robbers in New York. The scene was filmed at night. This means that it was quite cold. At that time everyone on the set was allowed to dress warmly. Swayze, who has already become a ghost, it was not allowed to wear warm clothes, so that he looks like an unearthly creature that does not feel temperature. And in order to the scene was more realistic, the producers decided that the audience should not see the actor's warm breath on the cold air. For this, the Swayze stage had to chew ice cubes For the first time look, it may seem easy, but it required a lot of effort from Swayze. However, this level of detail made the film so special. Michelle Pfeiffer, Meg Ryan, Julia Roberts and Nicole Kidman was considered for the role of Molly Jensen. Demi Moore was chosen for this role because she easily could cry. When is it required according to the scenario? When the girl approved, she had long hair, and she didn't say anything to the director Jerry Zucker is going to cut them. Zucker was shocked when he saw her in the new image, and he didn't like it at first. But after a while he believes that it is perfect for the character, her person.
When I agreed to act, then I thought, wow, this is a recipe for disaster. It will either be something really special and amazing or absolute failure. Fortunately, the film turned out to be something really special.
The film turned Demi Moore at the very a highly paid actress in Hollywood at that time. Before this film she was just a good actress. For example, in '95, she was already paid unprecedented at that time $12.5 million for participation in the film Striptease. Fee in Ghost amounted to $750,000.
I think that's the beauty of it. The film is that we didn't know what would come out of this project.
Tina Turner and Oprah Winfrey auditioned for the role of Oda Mae Brown. Patrick Swayze wouldn't have made the movie without Whoopi Goldberg, and only then when the actress received the role of Oda Mae Brown. Patrick Swayze also agreed to take part in project. Screenwriter Bruce Joel Rubin originally presented Oda Mae as a real psychic, but the producers thought that it would be funnier if she were a charlatan who begins to hear Sam.
When Tina Turner recorded audition tape and sent it off on Paramount, the studio was delighted from this ideas.
She was in London and sent video at the end of which she said, "Jerry, I really want this," but I had doubts. She was not an actress, so I had to convince the Paramount producers to cast Goldberg in the role.
They originally planned to cast Oprah Winfrey as May, so how she seemed more serious than Goldberg, but Oprah created unthinkable. Lost 27 kilograms, and she came to her show with a car full of fat which she lost. Having done this, she also lost the role of Oda Mae Brown.
Original Bruce Joel Rubin's script made Sam enter the body Oda Mae, and then make love with Molly. He says that some producers wanted to make a film just because of these scenes, but Jerry Zucker wisely refused from her. Whoopi Goldberg became the first actress received the Best Female Role of the Second Plan at the Delivery Ceremony Awards Oscar, BAFTA Award and a Golden Globe for his role in this film.
Whoopi Goldberg.
In its speeches on Oscar's 91st year, she thanked Swayze. What interesting, Goldberg became the first black woman to win an Oscar since Gone with the Wind, and Hattie McDaniel in the 40th year. At the 12th Ceremony Delivery Oscars, they both won in the category Best Actress of the Second Plan. But Halle Berry became the first black woman to receive an award for Best Actress in 2002 at the 74th Awards Oscar for the film Monsters Ball. Bruce Joel Rubin for the first time got the idea for the movie when he watched its performance Hamlet. He was especially inspired the moment when Claudius tells Hamlet to avenge his death. The screenwriter had to work hard to get it running film based on his own script. He started show it to studios from 84th year.
One day I was watching production of Hamlet and saw father's ghost Hamlet, who stood on the parapet and ordered his son to avenge his death, and exactly then in my head came the idea of writing a story about a ghost trying to solve his own murder.
The screenwriter said that he was skeptical to Jerry Zucker, and generally wanted either Milos Forman or Stanley Kubrick director's place. As a result, Zucker and Rubin went through 19 rewrites together script, and exactly Zucker gave the script more structure. Jerry Zucker stated that his decision take off Ghost was accepted not for that to distance yourself from comedy or start new chapter in his career. He just wanted make a good film for the audience. Zucker in each of your paintings necessary gives cameo role of his mother. Here she played a bank employee. Central pottery scene between Sam and Molly initially was in the script like sex on floor. Later this scene became widespread, known and has been called one of the most iconic cinema moments of the 90s. Patrick Swayze will later say that Potter the scene was the sexiest and the most exciting thing he's ever done to the cinema. By the way, the pot shouldn't have fall apart, but Patrick Swayze and Demi Moore just continued to exist in frame.
Screenwriter Bruce Joel Rubin didn't like the idea that dark spirits will faces and hands. He thought that they should have looked more like shadows who come to life and not like ghouls with human traits. Terrible sounds made by the dark shadows actually are sounds babies screaming. Reproducible extremely slow reverse speed. Interesting fact, but The Ghost was the most rented video cassette from 1991. Interior of a finished apartment. Molly and Sam's loft actually was home and studio of the artist-sculptor Michelle Oka Donor, located in the Soho area of Manhattan in New York. Plane crash footage shown on TV when Molly and Sam lying in bed together, based on real-life crash of Delta Flight 1141 Airlines August 31, 1988. Demi Moore and Vincent Schiavelli's birthday is November 11. Schiavelli and Patrick Swayze died at the age of 57, Schiavelli from lung cancer, and Swayze from pancreatic cancer glands. Remembers an interesting moment Bruce Joe Rubin when he met with studio executives about his script. They then told him, "Bruce, we just want you to know that A Ghost is the best scenario that we ever read." These words forced his feel inspired, but then a week later when the screenwriter walked along studio he heard the same leaders told another writer, we want you to know that your script best script we've ever had read." This movie represents very Christian sight for the afterlife, with bright light offering entry into heaven for Sam, and demons coming out of the shadows to drag Carl and Willie to hell. Ironically, fate how the screenwriter and director of this film Bruce Joel Rubin and Jerry Zucker belong to the Jewish faith, which is not claims there is an afterlife, not speaking already about heaven and hell. After Sam was shot, when he runs after the shooter, we hear his steps. A little later we discover what exactly his phantom was chasing the killer, and of course a ghost shouldn't have sound steps. The film's soundtrack included the song Unchained Melody. The song is associated exclusively with Ghost, although Her by Alex North and Hy Zaret wrote hit 35 years before the film's release on screens. They composed it for something completely different film, prison drama, which is so was called Unchained.
My love, my darling, I've hungered for your touch alone.
Over special effects, 3 different groups worked on the paintings. First worked on scenes in which ghosts pass through objects. These fragments were created by using combined shooting and color manipulations. When the phantom starts permeate through, for example, a closed door, his ghostly body directly in contact with the door becomes color doors. It's like would dissolve in it and then again going on the other hand sides. Episodes with demons carrying sinners to hell were created using overlays drawn by animators. Monsters on the set of stuntmen on roller skating. Demons shouldn't run but glide as if flying sidewalk. Finally, the final scene in which Sam goes to heaven was depicted a separate command using a simple computer graphics. Episode in which Sam is on the subway looking for a ghost, jumping from one carriage in the other. They were filmed using chroma key blue background. Personnel with Patrick Swayze were superimposed on the image of a train. A scene with black demons was developed based on an episode from the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Paramount were so pleasantly surprised financially success of the film, that was immediately considered possibility of creating a sequel. However, the director and screenwriter as well as stars Swayze, Moore and Goldberg thought it was a terrible idea, and since haven't been with any of them concluded contract for potential continuation, Paramount quickly refused from this idea. The film collected more than $500 million with a budget of $22. If this film had just drama and tension, then it wouldn't be unique film. Ghost like a movie remained in the history of cinema definitely because of the great script who tells a fascinating story history by exploring elements associated with alive and dead. Everything is fine here is combined throughout the entire picture. In addition, the stars of the film do good work, from Patrick Swayze, Demi Moore and Whoopi Goldberg to everyone else. Ghost uses universal hope and faith. Then what somehow death is not the end but a new beginning. We are consoled by the thought that ours loved may have left but are still watching us. This is a tape about living your life at the moment, because that's all you have. If you don't communicate with people you love, you are setting yourself up for incredible pain if you lose them.
The reason why I took off this picture is that's what it is gave me a chance to believe that maybe I'll tell my dad that I love him again.
If the film is good, You will forget for 2 hours your social security number and where is your car parked. Famous film critic Roger Ebert, who was an unquestioned authority for the audience and the harshest critic for filmmakers, in his review reproached Zucker for the fact that he in the scene where the main character finds himself in the body of Oda Mae Brown didn't show the two women kissing with each other.
According to strict logic, this should include what we see how Goldberg kisses more. Well, of course, the movie coming to compromise and shows us Swayze hugging her. Very bad. Because the logical version actually would be more spiritual and touching.
At preliminary screenings, it was possible here that people were uncomfortable, they giggled, I got worried. This is not that scene that people should laugh.
One day a disaster happened and an Hudson plane crashed. The guy who was on board ran out onto the wing of the plane and survived, he said. When I got off the plane, I was thinking about Patrick Swayze in The Ghost. And that's it. What I could imagine is what is my body was on the plane and my spirit was standing on wing. And I thought, if Last Thoughts Man was my film, that film touched something very deep.